Okay, I have not done one of these in a while because we skipped the February Nintendo Direct slot, and typically when a slot is skipped, the next one's pretty big. So I have pretty high hopes for this show. There's just one issue, which is the fact that pretty much everything I expect to see has kind of been leaked. Like, we've seen so much leak out over the past few weeks, maybe even months, that at this point it's like, I don't know how many actual surprises we're gonna see. In fact, some things I threw on here, I put on here just to say I don't think we're gonna see them, which I'll get to later. But, overall, if the stuff we've had rumored is what happens, I think it's a plenty good direct. But, God, it feels weird doing one of these again. But going through what we have here, I guess I'll start probably in the side here. I feel like there's nothing. This stuff is all. I mean, everything's been leaked pretty much. But starting out over here, Splatoon Raiders comes out next month. So I imagine they're gonna want to put out a 3 minute trailer, just breaking down something we're not aware of. Maybe a story trailer. I'm excited for Raiders. The fact that it's a single player focused Splatoon game is kind of underwhelming to me, as like a big Splatoon fan. I played 2 competitive when it came out, like pretty avidly. So I've Splatoon's right. It's probably one of my favorite Nintendo franchises. So I would love to. I mean, we got 3. What feels like it just happened, but if you look at like the gap between 2 and 3, we're about at that point for a 4th game. But I think Raiders is good to tie us over until then. Um, this is one of the things that leaked, a Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Definitive Edition slash Switch 2 Edition. I think it was branded as a Definitive Edition. Yeah, would be nice. That game had some performance issues and resolution issues on the original Switch. So just beef that up, put it out on Switch 2. Seems like a pretty typical thing to do. I wonder if they're gonna do it for Xenoblade 1 and 3. I wouldn't be surprised by 3, but I feel like 1 just makes more sense to have like a free update. But I don't know. Either way, if they do those, I don't think it would happen yet. I think it would be some time. And then Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. Probably my most excited game for the year, assuming a certain Soul Gold and Red Loyal doesn't get announced. But I'm so excited for Fortune's Weave. We still don't quite know if it is a prequel or sequel to Three Houses, but either way, I'm all in. I didn't love the idea of another Fodlan game at first, but it's grown on me. Three Houses is in my top 10 games of all time. So to be back in that world is going to be awesome. There's going to be another billion years of discourse. I imagine this game's probably coming out pretty soon. Maybe August or September. It's kind of crazy we haven't seen much of it, but I think that overall just reflects Nintendo's current like strategy with announcing games where they don't want to show something too long before it's out, which is a mistake they initially made with this game. So they just haven't showed anything since then. I wouldn't be surprised if it got its own focused direct maybe next month. Um, Duskbloods. I personally have nothing to say about this game. I don't like Souls games, but I'm sure it's going to be good for those who do care. I imagine it is going to bite up a pretty big portion of the direct. And speaking of biting up a big portion of the direct, I do not think a 3D Mario is happening. I don't think it's taking any time in the direct. I know the rumor is that we're going to get a new one next year, probably as a holiday game, but I just don't think it makes sense to announce it here. I get that Nintendo really needs to give reasons to sell Switch 2s right now, but I feel like you don't need to do that quite yet with 3D Mario. I feel like it's not that drastic yet, and you don't want to fall into the trap you had with Fortune's Weave and other games where you announce it too early and then have nothing to show for it. Likewise, I feel the same about Smash. I don't think that will be here. I don't think it's time yet. I do think it's avidly being worked on, and we may see it announced next year, but it's too soon after Air Idols, even if that game was done a good bit before they released it. And then some more of the things that have leaked. These are all pretty basic. a new Switch sports game, maybe like Switch Sports Resort style. I think that would be cool, though I haven't even bought the first game, so whatever. It's not a big deal to me. We'll see Star Fox. I know there was, uh, along with where the Switch Sports and all that stuff leaked, a like adventures style Star Fox game, which I'm not a Star Fox guy either. I haven't played any of the games. This will probably be my first one, but I also just can't justify paying the price for it at this point, especially when you can, like, what is it, $60 I think, and then 50 digital, but 50 if you pre-order it from the right retailers. But that's just still too much for me, I think. Um, and then Kirby Planet Robobot. That game's been rumored to have a remake for a while. Not a remake, but a remaster. Not it hasn't been rumored like these other games are that have pretty much been all but confirmed, but it's been on the ticket for a while. Next year is also, I believe, the 35th anniversary for Corby, so they're probably gonna want to do something pretty big with that then. Um, and Robobot's one of the more beloved games, so I could see that being something they want to put out. Plus, we're kind of in a phase where they release at least one Kirby game a year. And we don't have one for this year, so maybe this isn't an anniversary thing and it's just this year. And then next year anniversary we get like another Forgotten Lands type game. I don't know. Pikmin 4 Switch 2 edition, not too much to say. Hopefully it has new content in it instead of just being the Switch 2 editions have been pretty a mixed bag. We've had some that felt pretty big, such as Forgotten Land and Wonder, but then some that were just not much, and some that were kind of just avidly bad. So either way, I haven't played Pikmin 4 yet, don't even have it, so I guess I'll just pick up this version when it's time. And then these top 4 things came, like I said, so much of this is leaked. This stuff all came out with the other leaks I've talked about. Ocarina of Time remake. That's the holiday game. Um, I'll probably pick it up, but to be honest, I'm not that big of a Zelda guy. The only 3D Zeldas I finished Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and then the only other games I played were Link's Awakening, which I thought was kind of just okay, and the Hyrule Warriors games, which I embarrassingly love those games. But I don't know, maybe Ocarina will get me to turn around. I know it's one of the greatest games ever made, but that doesn't automatically mean I'm gonna like it. For example, I played Metroid Prime 1 Remaster last year, and I kinda hated it. Which I guess, speaking of beloved games that I kinda hated when I played, I did not like Pokopia. I just didn't. It wasn't my thing. But I could see DLC for that popping up here. And speaking of Pokemon, I don't think it's time for Winds and Waves. I think we would probably see that in the September Direct when that comes around. Maybe we see it here, but I don't know. It's kind of a coin flip, but maybe a bit of a weighted coin flip. Um, a Wario Lands game has been rumored. There's been a bit of a push recently with him. Actually, well, not really, but like Pictonico came out, or Pictonico, whatever it is, and that's basically a WarioWare game without the WarioWare. So maybe they're trying not to flood the market with Wario, which is I get is kind of the opposite of what I said. But yeah, Lance has been rumored. I wonder who would develop it. Maybe Goodfeel, though. I believe they were the devs of Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, so maybe not. Um, I forget the name of the other developer who works with Nintendo for those types of games. It's not good feel. Yeah, I got no idea, and I'm not gonna waste my time on it. But I do think Wario Land is very possible, and then a Super Metroid remake is obviously on the table as one of those things that leaked. It could maybe be Metroid 6. I believe both of them were possible, but I think it makes more sense to lead with the Super Metroid remake. I could see that being another holiday type game because Metroid Prime 4 was one, and we had Metroid Dread as one as well another year. So I wouldn't be surprised if he did Super Metroid this year, Metroid 6 the year after, and then maybe Metroid Prime 5 after that. Um, Mario Kart World DLC, everyone's been begging for it for a while. The game needs it. I know there's been a lot of discourse about the game in general. I enjoy it quite a bit. I don't like the open world like everyone else, and it's not a great hook. And for that, when you focus so much on a hooks that just isn't very good, the rest of the game just kind of feels worse than it actually is. I think the racing's plenty fine. I think Knockout Tour is some of the best, most fun Mario Kart's ever been, but game just needs a bit more content. And then finally, a bunch of third party stuff, a lot of which is leaked through rating boards. For example, Sonic Frontiers Definitive Edition, allegedly with a nice Sonic model, has leaked. It's been rated, and it's allegedly coming out this month, so wouldn't be surprised if we see that here. I know DMC5 has also been rated, as well as new Tales of Remaster. I forget which one this one was. I looked it up before I started, and then I already forgot. And then last few things, I feel like um, Expedition 33 just makes sense to show. Um, Massive release. They've had enough time to probably at least somewhat get it going, and I struggle to think they hadn't already started to plan on doing it. Metaphor's in the same boat, but much more likely. I'm pretty damn confident Metaphor will be getting a Switch 2 port here. Um, I know people were upset when they announced when they had the Xbox show yesterday, and they did not show Persona 4 is coming to Switch 2. I wasn't worried. I think that um, Nintendo just sees it as a big reveal they can have at their show. So they just went with that. I think it'll pop up here. Hopefully it performs better on Switch than Reload did. There's a variety of factors why Reload performed so poorly. I think the biggest one is just the fact that it didn't come out day and date with other platforms. So by the time it was out, most people had already played it, and it came out retailing for simply just too much for what you could get it on other consoles. But I don't think Revival is going to have that issue. I'm gonna play it on PS5 anyway, so it doesn't matter to me personally if it comes to Switch. But I don't see why it wouldn't. Adventures of Elliot. Probably gonna these. I think Asano is the name of the devs. These games always soak up so much time in every direct. I think this game comes out this month, maybe next month. The only HD 2D games I played were a little bit of Octopath, and then I got one ending in Triangle Strategy, which, God, I need to go back to that game. It was phenomenal. I just got a little burnt out on the combat, I think, but great game. And then finally, the last two things I want to talk about. I feel like Danganronpa 2x2. I feel like it's finally time to get a release date. Hopefully, it hasn't been delayed. I know a lot of people think it will be. I fell for a tweet saying it was delayed by Smike Chunsoft, which, whoops, I don't know how I didn't realize it was fake until I saw Smike Chunsoft in my notifications liking the tweet, and I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, so I'm an idiot. But yeah, I'm so critical of Danganronpa. I I'm a fan of the franchise quite a bit, but I just can't get behind so much of it. But God, the concept is so good. I think reusing the cast of two is going to be awesome. I'm just I've pre-ordered the collector's edition. I'm insane. Most of the time I talk about this game, it's probably going to be complaining once it's out, but I don't care. I'm excited for it. I'm hoping for Mahiro Protag. I think it's either Mahiro, Hajime, or Nagito. I'm banking on Mahiro because we didn't get a proper female protagonist for much of V3, so I think Mahiro, especially, just kind of fits that role perfectly. Um, Plus, I'm just not a big Hajime guy. I liked him until the reveal at the end, and that just kind of pissed me off. Like I said, I complain about Danganronpa a lot. Pretty much all of the big twists just kind of piss me off, which a lot of similar VNs don't do the same because I just think they're written better. Which, before I move on to Ace Attorney, I do also want to say, once we get a date for 2x2, which is probably soon, probably tomorrow, I do want to do like a full-on predictions for what happens in 2x2. Probably be semi-scripted, as in I would go in with a plan of what to talk about, like who dies when, who the survivors are. but it wouldn't be like I would just be rambling for most of it, which is pretty much the only thing I've ever done. And then finally, Ace Attorney 7. It leaked along with Hatsune Miku in Persona 5X. Oh my god. Um, that kind of annoyed me until I remembered she was in P4D, so I don't really care anymore. She is canon, I guess, whatever. But yeah, no, everything that has leaked in that lake with Ace Attorney 7, like half of those things have come true. The Persona stuff, um, one of the Sonic things in it leaked. It's time. I don't know if it's happening here. I assume it is. But if we finally get Ace Attorney 7, I will be so excited, dude. It's been 10 years since Spirit of Justice. We've had every single game in the franchise remastered since then, so it doesn't feel that bad. But god, am I just so ready for a new game. I'm also excited for a new game that I won't be spoiled for, and that I can, like, participate in the release cycle without, like, I don't know, I just wasn't a fan of any of the other games as they were coming out besides the remasters. So to get 7, that it's been pretty much my most wanted games for the longest time that I wanted to see announced were Ace Attorney 7 or just any new Ace Attorney and Tomodachi Life, which we got Tomodachi Life, and to be honest, I'm very opinionated about that game. I liked it, but not as much as the 3DS game for various reasons, which is probably a story for another day. But God, Ace Attorney, man, it has to be time. I want it so bad. I brought out the fucking red circle and the pointer arrow, okay? Please, 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 please. I don't care who the protagonist is. It can be Investigations 3. It can be Great Ace Attorney 3. It can be Ace Attorney 7 and Kura In. I don't fucking care. You can kill Phoenix Wright, okay? Kill him. I don't care. Just give me a new Ace Attorney. And you know what? Honestly, killing Phoenix Wright would maybe be good. I know that's kind of a controversial choice, but I do think the series has some serious, like, just extra weight carrying around of too many characters, and maybe killing the lead isn't quite the way you handle that. But there was a big issue of, like, you have these big twists in one game, and then they don't mention them in the next game because you don't want to spoil the last one, which is just a stupid ass idea for how to write a visual novel. Wasn't really an issue with the first 3 games, but since then, like, Apollo's backstory and Apollo Justice dropped. His best friend who died that he made up for sympathy and Dual Destinies dropped. We just keep giving these guys new backstories, and can we just drop that? Can we just move on? Maybe get. I don't know why I'm blanking on his name right now, because he's genuinely, like, my second favorite VN writer. But the guy who did the original trilogy in Great Ace Attorney would be awesome if he was back. Uncas still got it. Great Ace Attorney 2 is the best Ace Attorney by, like, a lot, in my opinion. Genuinely one of, like, the handful of games I would give a 10 out of 10 to. It's incredible. So get him back. But even if you don't, I don't care. I'll buy it. I'll play it day one. I will be obsessed with it. Even if it's one of the worst Ace Attorney games, I don't care. It's still going to be good. God, please give me Ace Attorney 7. I need it now. Genuine. Oh, well, wow. This application is out of date. That's lovely. Okay. Uh, Ace Attorney 7 now.